I dropped the phone onto the bed like it had burned my fingers, my hands shaking as I stared at my boyfriend's pale face. The light from his screen cast shadows across the bedroom, and my heart was hammering so hard I could hear it in my ears. "You went through my bank statements?" My voice came out strangled, barely above a whisper. Jake sat frozen on the edge of our bed, his jaw clenched, eyes darting between me and his phone clutched in his hand. The phone he'd used to access my banking app. The phone that was supposed to be for emergencies, not surveillance. "I can explain," he started, but I held up my hand. "You accessed my bank account, my private account." I could feel heat rising in my chest, spreading up my neck. "How long have you been doing this?" "Lena, please." He stood up, reaching for me, but I stepped back. "You've been acting weird. Secret phone calls, mysterious purchases. What was I supposed to think?" The absurdity of it hit me like a physical blow. 3 weeks of planning. 3 weeks of coordinating with his boss, researching hotels, scraping together money for hockey tickets because I knew how much he wanted to see the Rangers play at Madison Square Garden. 3 weeks of smiling through his suspicious glances, his questions about where I was going, who I was texting. "You were supposed to think I was your girlfriend of 2 years, I said quietly. "Someone who's never given you a single reason not to trust me." He flinched, and good. He should flinch. I know. Jake ran his hands through his hair, making it stand up in dark spikes. "But you were being secretive. You can't deny that." I grabbed my phone from where he dropped it, pulling up the confirmation emails. The hotel reservation at the Marriott Marquis, the tickets to the Rangers game, the dinner reservation at Peter Luger's Steakhouse in Brooklyn, his absolute favorite place that he always said was too expensive for a regular visit. I was planning a surprise. I shoved the phone toward him, watching his face change as he read through each email. "I took an extra shift every week for the past month to afford this. I called your boss 3 times to coordinate getting you the weekend off without you knowing. I've been researching the best places to visit in Manhattan because you've wanted to go back since you left 5 years ago." The color drained from Jake's face as he scrolled through the emails. His mouth opened, closed, opened again. "Lena, I didn't..." "You didn't what? You didn't think? You didn't trust me?" I pulled the phone back, my hands still trembling. "You went through my banking app, Jake. That's not just looking at my phone. You logged into my account, used my password." "I saw the notification," he mumbled, "for the hotel charge. It was on your screen." "So you memorized the amount and went digging through my bank records?" My voice was rising now, and I didn't care. "What else have you been looking through? My emails? My messages?" His silence was answer enough. I sat down hard on the bed, suddenly exhausted. The digital clock on the nightstand read 2:17 a.m. I'd fallen asleep early, tired from my double shift at the hospital, excited about finally having everything arranged for this weekend. And I'd woken up to Jake holding my phone, his face twisted in anger and suspicion. "I thought you were cheating," he said finally, his voice small. "I thought the hotel was for you and someone else." "Based on what evidence?" I demanded. "Based on what, Jake? Tell me one thing I've done in 2 years that would make you think that." He couldn't. I could see him trying, searching for something to justify what he'd done, and coming up empty. "My ex," he started, and I cut him off. "I'm not your ex. I'm not Sarah. I've never been Sarah." I stood up again, needing to move, needing space. "You don't get to punish me for something someone else did 4 years ago." "I wasn't trying to punish you." "Then what were you trying to do?" I turned to face him, and I could feel tears starting to burn behind my eyes. I refused to let them fall. "Because from where I'm standing, you violated my privacy, accused me of cheating without any real evidence, and ruined what was supposed to be a special weekend." Jake's shoulders slumped. "I'm sorry. God, Lena, I'm so sorry. I was an idiot. I just saw the charges and the secret calls, and my brain just went to the worst place. The secret calls were to your boss and to the ticket seller because there was an issue with the original booking." I wrapped my arms around myself. The mysterious purchases were for you. Everything I've been doing has been for you. I know, I see that now. Do you? I searched his face, looking for real understanding and seeing only guilt and embarrassment. Because this isn't about making a mistake, Jake. This is about fundamental trust, and you just showed me that you don't have any. Not really. He reached for me again, and this time I didn't step back, but I didn't move toward him either. His hands hung in the air between us, uncertain. I do trust you, he insisted. I just had a moment of stupidity. Let me make it up to you. We can still go on the trip. It'll still be amazing. I shook my head slowly. It's not about the trip anymore. The hurt in his eyes almost made me soften, but then I thought about him going through my bank statements, imagining him scrolling through transactions, building a case against me in his head, and the anger came back. I need some space, I said, grabbing my pillow. I'm sleeping on the couch. Lena, please don't. I'm sleeping on the couch, I repeated, firmer this time. We'll talk in the morning. I left before he could argue, closing the bedroom door behind me with a soft click that felt louder than a slam. The living room was dark, except for the streetlight filtering through the blinds, casting stripes across the hardwood floor. I dropped onto the couch, hugging the pillow to my chest, and finally let the tears come. Not because of the ruined surprise. Not even because of the accusation, though that stung like hell. But because in that moment, seeing the suspicion in his eyes, I'd realized something terrifying. If Jake could convince himself I was cheating based on hotel bookings and phone calls, what else could he convince himself of? What other innocent actions would he twist into betrayals? My phone buzzed. A text from Jake. I'm sorry. I love you. Please come back to bed. I turned the phone face down and closed my eyes. Sleep didn't come easy. Morning arrived with weak sunlight and the smell of coffee. I heard Jake moving around the kitchen, the clink of mugs, the refrigerator opening and closing, trying to be quiet, trying to be considerate. Too little, too late was the bitter thought that crossed my mind. I sat up, my neck stiff from the uncomfortable couch, and checked my phone. 6:43 a.m. I had work at 9. Jake appeared in the doorway, 2 mugs in hand, his hair wet from a shower. I made coffee, your favorite, with the hazelnut creamer. Thanks. I took the mug, not meeting his eyes. He sat down on the coffee table facing me, close enough that our knees almost touched. I didn't sleep. I've been thinking all night about what I did. Okay. It's not okay. Nothing about this is okay. He set his mug down, leaning forward with his elbows on his knees. I violated your trust. I invaded your privacy. I accused you of something terrible without any evidence, and I ruined something you worked really hard on. I sipped the coffee. It was perfect, exactly how I liked it. Such a small thing, but he always remembered. I know I have trust issues, he continued. When Sarah cheated, it messed me up. I thought I was over it. I thought I dealt with it, but clearly I haven't. That's something you need to work on, I said quietly, but you can't work on it by making me pay for her mistakes. I know, you're right. He scrubbed his hands over his face. I want to fix this. Tell me how to fix this. I don't know if you can. The words hung between us, heavy and awful. Trust isn't something you can just patch up with apologies and coffee. His face crumpled. Are you breaking up with me? Was I? I'd been asking myself the same question for hours on that couch. The easy answer would be yes. He'd violated something fundamental. He'd shown me that his trauma outweighed his faith in me. That should be a deal breaker. But relationships weren't that simple, were they? I don't know, I admitted. I'm hurt, I'm angry, and honestly, I'm disappointed. In me. In both of us. I set my coffee down. In you for doing this, and in me for not seeing that you still had these issues. This isn't your fault. I didn't say it was my fault, but I'm disappointed that we're here, in this situation, having this conversation. I finally looked at him directly. I need you to understand something, Jake. If we're going to move forward, things have to change. Real change, not just promises. I'll do anything. I need you to go to therapy. The words came out firm, decided. I hadn't even realized I'd made the decision until I said it out loud. You need to deal with what Sarah did to you. Actually deal with it, with a professional. He nodded quickly. Okay, yes, I'll find someone today. And you need to give me my space. I'm not ready to just forgive and forget. How much space? I don't know yet. I stood up, needing to get ready for work, needing to move. But pushing me for answers isn't going to help. He stood too, looking lost in our own living room. Do you still want to go on the trip this weekend? The trip? I'd almost forgotten about it in the chaos of the night before. The non-refundable hotel reservation, the expensive tickets, the dinner reservation that had taken weeks to get. I don't know, I repeated. Let me think about it. Work was a blur. I was an ICU nurse at Mount Sinai, and normally the intensity of the job kept my mind focused, present. But today I kept drifting, replaying the scene from last night. The look on Jake's face, the accusations, the violation. You okay? My coworker Melissa asked during our lunch break. We were in the break room, the fluorescent lights harsh after the dimmer lighting of the ICU floor. Rough night, I said, pushing salad around my container. Want to talk about it? I debated, then gave her the abbreviated version. By the time I finished, Melissa was staring at me with wide eyes. He went through your bank statements? She repeated. Girl, that's not just trust issues. That's controlling behavior. I don't think he's controlling. Lena, I love you, but listen to yourself. He monitored your spending. He went through your phone. What's next? Following you? Tracking your location? She reached across the table, covering my hand with hers. I'm not saying dump him immediately, but this is serious. This is red flag territory. Her words echoed in my head for the rest of my shift. Was it controlling behavior, or was it just a one-time mistake driven by insecurity? The distinction felt important, but I couldn't quite grasp where the line was. When I got home that evening, Jake wasn't there. Instead, there was a note on the kitchen counter in his familiar scrawl. Went to my parents' house to give you space. I called 3 therapists, have appointments scheduled for consultations. I love you. I'm sorry. The apartment felt too quiet without him. We'd lived together for a year, and I'd gotten used to his presence. The way he'd have music playing while he cooked dinner, his terrible singing in the shower, the sound of his video games from the living room. Now it was just silence and my own thoughts. I ordered Thai food and ate it curled up on the couch, scrolling mindlessly through my phone. The confirmation email for the hotel stared at me from my inbox. Check-in was in 3 days. Friday evening. My phone rang. Mom. Hey, sweetie. Just calling to check in. How's the surprise trip planning going? I'd told her about it last week, excited and proud of myself for pulling it together. Now the words felt hollow. Actually, Mom, something happened. And I told her everything. When I finished, there was a long silence. What are you going to do? She asked finally. I don't know. Everyone seems to have opinions. Melissa thinks it's a red flag. Jake thinks therapy will fix everything. But nobody's asking me what I want. Okay, so what do you want? The question stumped me. What did I want? I want to be with someone who trusts me, I said slowly. I want a partner who doesn't immediately jump to the worst conclusion. I want someone who respects my privacy. Those are reasonable things to want. But I also love him, Mom. I love Jake. We've built a life together. One mistake doesn't erase 2 good years, does it? That depends on the mistake, she said gently, and whether it's truly a one-time thing or a pattern you haven't seen yet. After we hung up, I sat with that thought. Was this a pattern? I tried to remember other instances, other times Jake had been suspicious or controlling. There was the time he'd asked a lot of questions about my male coworker, David. The time he'd seemed upset that I went out with friends without him. The time he'd wanted to know why I was late coming home from the grocery store. Individual instances, I'd brushed them off. Together, they formed something that looked a lot like insecurity. Or something worse. My phone buzzed, a text from Jake. Not trying to pressure you, just wanted you to know I have an appointment with a therapist tomorrow at 4 p.m. His name is Dr. Richards. He specializes in relationship trauma and trust issues. I stared at the message. He'd moved fast. That was something. I texted back. That's good. I'm glad you're taking this seriously. 3 dots appeared, disappeared, appeared again. Finally, I love you. I know I screwed up. I'm going to do better. I didn't respond. Thursday passed in a similar fog. Work, home, silence. Jake texted once to tell me the therapy appointment went well and he'd scheduled weekly sessions. He was still at his parents' house. I was still sleeping alone in our bed, which somehow felt worse than the couch had. Friday morning, I woke up with a decision crystallizing in my mind. I pulled up the hotel confirmation, the tickets, the dinner reservation, all non-refundable, all expensive, all wasted if I didn't use them. But more than that, I'd been looking forward to this trip. I'd planned every detail. I'd been excited about showing Jake his favorite city, watching his face light up at the hockey game, enjoying an expensive meal together. Why should I let his mistake take that away from me? I called Melissa. Hey, random question. Are you free this weekend? Yeah? Why? Want to go to New York City. I have a hotel room and Rangers tickets that would be a shame to waste. There was a pause. Are you serious? Completely serious. Jake ruined the surprise, but he doesn't get to ruin the trip, too. I worked hard for this. I deserve to enjoy it. Hell yes! Melissa practically shouted into the phone. Oh my God, yes! When do we leave? Tonight after my shift. Can you be ready by 7? I'll be ready by 6. Lena, this is amazing. You're amazing. After we hung up, I felt lighter than I had in days. I texted Jake. I'm going on the trip. Not with you, with Melissa. I need time to think, and I'm not letting the money go to waste. His response came quickly. I understand. Have a good time. You deserve it. We'll talk when you get back? Me. Maybe. I'll let you know. I didn't wait for a response. Packing was therapeutic. I threw clothes into my duffel bag with more force than necessary, but it felt good to take action, to make a decision, to reclaim something that was supposed to be mine. Melissa picked me up at 7 sharp, her overnight bag already in the back of her Honda Civic, a road trip playlist queued up on her phone. I can't believe we're doing this, she said as we merged onto I-95 North. This is the most spontaneous thing you've done since I've known you. I'm a spontaneous person, I protested. Lena, you plan your meal prep on Sundays for the entire week. You're not spontaneous. Well, maybe I'm evolving, she grinned. I like evolved Lena. She takes trips to Manhattan and doesn't let men ruin her plans. The drive took 4 hours, and we filled it with music, gossip about work, and carefully avoiding the topic of Jake. By the time we pulled into the hotel parking garage, it was after 11, and I was exhausted but oddly exhilarated. The Marriott Marquis lobby was stunning, all glass and lights and bustling activity even at this hour. I checked us in with the reservation I'd made under my name, and the desk clerk handed over 2 key cards with a smile. You ladies here for the Rangers game? He asked, noticing the printed tickets peeking out of my purse. Yes, I said, and saying it out loud made it real. Tomorrow night. Great game to catch. Enjoy your stay. Our room was on the 32nd floor with a view of Times Square, the lights a glittering carpet below us. Melissa immediately went to the window, pressing her hands against the glass. This is incredible, she breathed. I can't believe you were going to share this view with Jake. Well, now I'm sharing it with my best friend instead. I dropped my bag on one of the beds, which is better, honestly. She turned to face me. Is it, though? I sat down on the bed, the adrenaline of the drive fading. I don't know. Part of me wishes he was here. Part of me is glad he's not. Is that normal? Probably. Melissa sat across from me on the other bed. You're allowed to have complicated feelings about this. Everyone keeps saying that, but it doesn't make it less confusing. Do you think you'll forgive him? I laid back, staring at the ceiling. I think I might, eventually, but I don't know if I can forget, and I don't know if I can be in a relationship where I'm always wondering if he trusts me or if he's just pretending to. Those are fair concerns. Dr. Richards better be a miracle worker, I muttered. We spent Saturday exploring Manhattan. Central Park in the morning, the Museum of Modern Art in the afternoon, coffee at a tiny cafe in the Village that Melissa found on Instagram. It was exactly the kind of day I'd imagined, except with different company. My phone stayed mostly silent. Jake texted once, "Hope you're having fun. I'm thinking about you." I sent back a photo of Central Park, nothing more. The hockey game was that evening. We got to Madison Square Garden early, soaking in the atmosphere, the energy of thousands of fans in Rangers jerseys, the smell of hot dogs and beer. Our seats were incredible, 10 rows from the ice, and when the players skated out for warm-ups, I felt a pang. Jake would have loved this. But I was here, and I was going to enjoy it. The Rangers won in overtime, and Melissa and I screamed ourselves hoarse, jumping up and down with strangers, caught up in the collective joy of victory. Walking out of the arena into the cool night air, both of us high on adrenaline and happiness, I realized something. I'd had an amazing time. Without Jake, without his presence or his approval or his participation. I'd been happy. That thought followed me through dinner at Peter Luger, through the perfectly cooked steak and the excellent wine, through the walk back to the hotel through Times Square's neon chaos. When we got back to the room, Melissa passed out almost immediately, exhausted from the long day. I sat by the window, looking out at the city, my phone in my hand. Jake had sent another text. "I've been doing a lot of thinking. Can we talk when you get home?" I typed and deleted several responses before finally settling on yes. Sunday morning, we slept late, ordered room service breakfast, and reluctantly packed up to leave. The drive home was quieter than the drive up, both of us tired, both of us processing. "Thank you for coming with me," I said as we crossed back into Connecticut. "I really needed this." "Thank you for inviting me. Best spontaneous girls' trip ever." She glanced at me. "What are you going to say to him?" "I don't know yet. I guess I'll figure it out when I see him." Jake was waiting at the apartment when I got home. He stood up from the couch as soon as I walked in, and I could see he'd been nervous, maybe for hours. "How was it?" he asked. "It was good. Really good, actually." I set my bag down by the door. "We had a great time." He nodded, something flickering across his face. Pain, maybe, or regret. "I'm glad. You deserved to enjoy it." He gestured to the couch. "Can we talk?" I sat down, maintaining space between us. "Okay. I've had 2 therapy sessions now. Dr. Richards thinks I have unresolved trauma from Sarah's infidelity that manifests as hypervigilance and catastrophic thinking." He said it like he'd practiced, the clinical terms careful in his mouth. "He says I've been using control as a way to manage anxiety about being hurt again." That makes sense. "It doesn't make it okay," he said quickly. "What I did wasn't okay, but I'm trying to understand why I did it so I can change." "That's good, Jake. I'm glad you're doing the work. But it's not enough, is it?" His eyes searched my face. I can tell. Something changed. He was right. Something had changed. I'd changed. "I had an amazing weekend," I said slowly, "and you weren't there. And I realized that I can be happy without you. I can make plans and have adventures and enjoy myself without needing you there." "That's not a bad thing," he said quietly. "I know, but it made me question whether I want to be with someone who makes me feel like I have to defend my actions, someone who makes me paranoid about being misunderstood. I don't want to make you feel that way." "But you do. You did." I pulled my knees up to my chest. "And I keep wondering if I can trust that you won't do it again. That the next time I'm secretive about something innocent, you won't immediately assume the worst. I'm working on it. I promise you, I'm committed to changing." His voice broke slightly. "Please don't give up on us." And there it was, the moment I'd been dreading and anticipating all weekend. The choice laid bare between us. I could stay. I could give him another chance. I could believe in his therapy and his promises and his love. Or I could leave. I could protect myself from future hurt. I could choose my peace over his potential. "I'm not giving up," I heard myself say. "But I'm not forgetting either. You get one more chance, Jake. One. And if you violate my trust again, if you snoop or accuse or make me feel like I'm guilty until proven innocent, I'm done. Do you understand? Yes, God, yes, I understand. Relief flooded his face. I won't mess this up, I swear. And I'm keeping my bank passwords to myself, and my phone stays private unless I choose to share it. And you don't get to question my whereabouts or my purchases or my friendships. Absolutely, whatever you need. I stood up, suddenly exhausted. I need you to leave for tonight. Go back to your parents' house. Let me sleep in my own bed without you here. We'll try again tomorrow. He looked like he wanted to argue, but thought better of it. Okay, I can do that. As he gathered his things, I watched him move through the apartment. This person I loved and was angry with and was choosing to trust again. It was terrifying and brave and maybe stupid, but it was my choice. At the door, he paused. Thank you for giving me another chance. Don't make me regret it. After he left, I collapsed onto the couch, emotionally wrung out. My phone buzzed. A text from Melissa. How did it go? Me. We're trying again. On my terms this time. Melissa. Proud of you either way. You know that, right? Me. I know. I didn't know if Jake and I would make it. Maybe he'd do the work and change. Maybe the trust would rebuild slowly. Maybe we'd come out stronger. Or maybe we'd fall apart despite our best efforts. But for now, I'd chosen hope over fear, and that had to be enough. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Would you have given him a second chance after such a deep violation of trust?